Welcome, everybody. This is Coach D. Darrell Spears. Once again, happy to be here to engage with each and every one of you. Today, we're going to have a hot show in which we're going to talk to the beautiful Miss Lily. She's from New York. She's a beautiful young woman who has had some not so good experiences in the city of New York as far as dating, relationships. She's going to come aboard. She's going to talk about her experiences, and we're going to talk about those areas of dating, long-term relationships, love, sex, and all, etc. Before we get started, guys, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for subscribing, for those who have shared the videos, those who are also leaving comments in the comment section, and also for those who have been financially supporting the channel. I definitely thank you all for your support. So at this point, at this time, I'm going to bring on the lovely Miss Lily. How are you doing?
Hi,
Good.
everybody. How are you doing? I think I'm hanging in there.
Good. So today you've been out on the beach kind of enjoying the scenery, the wind. How's that going for you right now?
It's going good. You know, sometimes we just need a breather and we need Mother Nature out of the city. And I'm in New York City every single day. I also live there, so I'm kind of just taking a little break during the weekend. But yeah, it's been good. And yeah, it's so vital. Just like sand underneath my feet, and just, even if it's a little chilly, just to feel the wind and kind of get grounded. So
Right. So sounds like to me you were alone in this endeavor by yourself.
yeah, absolutely. Like this show is amazing. I'm getting turned on.
So let's kind of talk about the situation of dating. And I'm pretty sure sometime in the future you would like to enjoy that with someone else. So kind of talk to me about your experiences with dating and why you're single at the moment.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. Wow. I mean, it really has been such a ride. I think that there's so many things at play. So I was in New York City for the past 18 years, and my
Okay.
experiences have been, I don't think that it's one of the best cities to date in
Okay.
America, especially
Okay.
globally, due to the pace, because the pace is so fast. And a lot of healthy relationships that are formed. There needs to be more substance and, more organic energy to get to know somebody.
Okay.
The energy is, it's quite fast. The pace of life is very fast. Everything is, a lot of relationships can seem very transactional. My experiences, I've had many relationships in the city, and there were so many great experiences, but I do find that a lot of the relationships that I've had, uh, you know, quite being influenced by the environment that I was in, it was always those high intensity type relationships.
Okay.
And I think that I've really learned over the years that there's such a difference between intensity and passion. And
Okay.
I always thought I was a passionate person, but I learned it's two different things.
Right.
Intensity really comes out of nowhere, and there'll be a drop. And passion is gradual and it's formed. I think that New York City, the relationships that I have had in New York City, you know, some of them were very iconic, very romantic, the most, picturesque type dates. But I wouldn't say that there was so much substance within those relationships due to being influenced by the environment that I was in, uh, and also the type of person that I was in the moment. For me
Okay.
to attract those types of men. But it was great in a sense of getting to really experience that movie-esque type dating.
Okay. Okay.
But I think that also being in New York City, I really now crave that simplicity. Just
Hmm.
that very organic, substantial, in-depth, meaningful type relationship. But
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
it's been really. There were good moments, but there were also a lot of
Well, you in New
crazy.
York, so when you're in New York, you're going to come into contact with a variety of people from a variety of backgrounds and it's international, and so the likelihood of you seeing Morrissey frequently is not that high.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I was offered actually two book deals,
Oh,
in
really?
relationships. Yeah, because
Wow.
the relationships that I've had, I mean, it was over the top, some of the craziest dates, some of the craziest things that men would say because I'm completely straight, so I date men.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I mean, just like you said, I mean, spot on. It's such a melting pot, and you're getting so many international people, and also I got to feel in a positive way. I also got to feel on dating so many different cultures,
Right. So
and learning.
what type of, like, you've dated men of all races and cultures? Like what are you just a person that doesn't mind dating internationally, period, or interracially, or how do
Yeah,
you know?
both. I don't mind either way. I don't mind either way. I think that when I was younger, I was more precise and specific in okay, what I liked, what I wanted. And I realized that the pattern wasn't always going so well. And I actually had a girlfriend at the time tell me, you know what, just keep your mind open. Like you say that you don't like, a certain type of person, but just keep your mind open. And I actually did just that. And I realized, you know what, I'm falling. I mean, of course, I definitely want to be attracted to the person that I'm with for
Right.
sure. But I think I got to, in a way, fall more for the person's soul, and their values and their morals and beliefs and, just who they are as a person by just keeping an open mind. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, I have done that. I think dating a lot of cultures uh, really gave me a sense of, I mean, not schooling, but I really got to learn about different
Well,
cultures
you
that
you
way.
got to learn a more esoteric, let's say, in the moment education of people based
Yeah.
on what you may read about something culturally versus what you may experience. Is two
Yeah,
different things.
absolutely. And
So,
I feel
oh, go
like it
ahead.
traveled the world that way.
Wow, wow. So what is your ethnic background?
I'm actually half German and half Japanese.
Okay, very interesting. So, have you dated other people who are? Do you consider yourself biracial, or in
Yeah,
those
I am.
terms?
I
Okay,
mean, mixed race, but yeah, biracial for sure, or interracial. And I wasn't so, I never said to myself, okay, I want to be with another biracial person. But now that I've kept an open mind, I mean, I really don't have a specific type person, and they are, um,
okay,
if they are ethnic or biracial, great, you know.
okay. Good. So let's kind of talk about how you perceive relationships. Now, are you a person that, it sounds like you're definitely looking for monogamy?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay, I mean, I'm bringing that up because we have to clarify, because there are people who may not want monogamy. They want open relationship. They may want monogamy with certain strings attached, or that people who give breaks and passes and things of that sort. Everybody has their own set rules in a relationship. So what I pretty much teach is it's based on what you want in a relationship. Is basically not necessarily what society says you should do, but basically what two people agree what they want. It's between you and your partner. So, kind of talk to me about what are you looking for out of a guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think due to the time that I've spent studying a bit of neuroscience and psychology the last few years, um, which was driven from a lot of toxic type relationships,
Okay.
I think I really came to the conclusion of, like you said, monogamy, but also what feels good to my human mind and what feels healthy. I
Okay.
think that a lot of people are going by a certain type of brainwashing or programming or political agenda, and I always feel like whatever feels good to me, something that feels healthy, organic, non-forced, a person of values for sure. Um, yeah, I mean, it's very different from the majority of pool in New York City, because if people do date in New York City, it really is a lot of open relationships, a lot of casual dating. Monogamy, it's it's really really hard to come by in New York City than other parts of America. Uh, yeah, it's very loose. And I also believe, because due to the pace of being really fast and the intensity of the city, um, people become their environment. And
Okay.
they'll kind of like switch on and switch off in dating. But for me,
Okay.
I feel like I'm so out of place in New York City.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of talk to me about specific attributes that you're looking for out of a guy. And I'm going to start as it relates to physicality, personality, educational level, background, financial, hobbies. I'm looking at areas of compatibility per se. So can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. As far as I would say with character, definitely a very in-depth character in a man, somebody that has. I actually do prefer a man that has been through some type of struggle or some type of heartache, or I wouldn't say headache, but some type of
Something you
turmoil
had
in
to
relationship.
overcome per se?
Yeah, I
Challenge.
like the resilience.
Okay.
Definitely resilience in a person. Uh, More depth than the average man. Definitely depth. Um, of course, integrity. I think
Okay.
that's lost nowadays. Um, yeah, I think all around a good person. A good heart. I think that at the end of the day, um, we all kind of fall for just a good person, because I think that somehow it messes with our vision. Like, we actually see them as even more attractive. you know.
Right, 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 right. Okay.
Yeah. A really good-hearted gentleman. I think psychologically, somebody that is gentle with themselves, so that
Okay.
therefore they're gentle with me.
Okay.
Patient within themselves, so therefore they're patient with me. Um, yeah, somebody that's very firm with their beliefs too. That knows who they are, that's confident, who knows who they are, and is quite in their own skin already.
Okay. So what about interests that are similar to you? What type of educational level? Things of that sort, financially, things of that. You want to have a certain standard of living. You want to have building. I mean, you're in New York City. It's not a cheap state or city to live in.
No.
And you seem to be enjoying more of the higher end of things. So let's kind of talk about that.
Yeah, there always has to be the financial question. um, Education does not matter. I think that life can be an education.
Okay.
um, I think that as long as the person wants to always keep on growing, I think that's actually the most important thing that I see in the education boat. Not that
Okay.
they had to gone to an Ivy League school or Harvard or the Wharton Business School, but just
Okay.
somebody that always wants to grow, because what they're really saying to me is that A, they're not lazy, B, they're capable of a relationship, that they want to work, because all relationships take work. Um, and Financial means, yeah, absolutely. I can't lie as a woman. I mean, I, yeah, I mean, a man
That's
would have
just,
to
it's
be
okay to just be
yeah,
honest about it. It's okay. I mean,
yeah, a man,
that's your standard. Whatever your standard is, as long as you're
yeah.
comfortable with this is what I want. You have to have some level of standard with that. So
Thank you.
yes.
You're the best. Definitely somebody that is established and that is very financially stable. Of course, for me as a straight woman, and I'm sure other women might possibly be different than me, but it kind of shows me that protection. So it's never really about the finances or the money. It's the core of it to a woman, at least for me, is protection,
Okay.
protection
Okay.
and security. But yeah, of course, I do tend to attract men that are a little bit higher than the average wealth.
Okay.
But yeah.
So What type of industry are you in, or do you work in?
Yeah, I'm actually in entertainment industry. I do a lot of print modeling, like everything from Neutrogena to L'Oreal
Oh,
to
really?
yeah.
Oh, wow. I would like to see some work. I mean, do you have some things published already?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, that's
absolutely.
oh
Yeah.
wow, that's interesting. So
It's
so
New York City.
when you're in that industry, I mean, you're going to meet, and New York City has a plethora of high income earners, and particularly in that world, you're going to meet all types of guys. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of guys trying to shoot this shot with you, trying to flirt with you. How do you handle that? The attention that you get based on the industry that you're in. You're deemed as a very attractive woman in that industry. I'm pretty sure a lot of guys show interest. So how do you handle that?
Do you mean photographers, men within the industry, or just men in general?
Photography in the industry or out the industry? Because you meet an array of people just doing the job that you're doing.
Yeah, no, I mean that's actually one of the best questions anyone has asked me in the last couple years from a man.
Okay.
And the reason why is because I mean, it's not like I purposely come up with things, but I actually go for men now where they haven't seen any pictures of me, or they don't have
Wow.
Instagram already, or that they like, uh, like more humanitarian type work that I do, or
Right.
spirituality type pictures.
Right.
So that's kind of what I do seek, and I also do watch out for men that just like whether it's like swimsuit or lingerie type images. Because for me, I think it's different. In my 20s I didn't see this, but now in my mid 30s I watch out for that stuff. If I was if I was looking for something else besides a monogamous meaningful type relationship, then I wouldn't mind that. But now in my 30s, yeah, definitely something in depth and meaningful. And I guess, people can call it courting or courtship,
Right. Right.
but
Right.
yeah, definitely a man that I see he wants to connect more than just attach.
Okay. Well, I would say this: you have a very soothing voice, and I think that a lot of
I
men
get
would be
that.
attracted to that. Have you heard that before? You have a very
Yes.
soothing, relaxing voice. Like, you sure you haven't done what do you call it, ASMR or something like that?
I
Or
actually have thought of
yeah,
it.
I think you would be perfect for that. I mean, you definitely
Thank
have that
you.
type. You could just put a person in a trance or whatever, just soothe someone
Thank
to
you.
sleep per se. But it's yeah. So as we talk more about you, Lily, um, let's talk about the things that you don't like, things that would turn you off, or what a guy would. And I know in New York you've encountered that because you've had some situations that you deem disastrous. So,
Oh
what are
yeah.
some of those things that turn you off, or that you see as more disastrous in nature?
Oh my God. There's just so many I really have to think.
Okay,
There's so many. Wow. Um, well, first of all, I wouldn't want a man to strip for me, on the first date in the car ride to dinner.
strip
For
for you.
me,
Okay. That's extreme,
yeah,
but okay.
for me, I think that it does show me that somebody is not psychologically healthy, because you don't know somebody yet. So why would you bare any skin? Um, so yeah, not somebody that strips for me right away.
Anything else?
Def-
Okay.
Definitely a man that has like bad etiquette or bad manners. He doesn't need to, go to a Swiss finishing school or anything like that, but just, at least the most basic manners. Because I think that manners to me really resemble that gentleness, you
Okay.
know. I think that a relationship or courting, dating, and courtship, um, we really look at, like, at least for me, like, I really look at that safe place,
Right. Now, you've
'cause it's,
mentioned that multiple times because I see that you definitely value that as far as
yeah.
having a safe place, protection, gentleness.
Mhm.
Now,
Yes, yeah, absolutely, because I think that emotional intimacy, I mean, I'm sure a lot of women can agree with me on this, but I mean, I don't think actually any woman could disagree with me on this, but um, it is such a turn on, and for me personally, that is like the gateway to my heart, But of course, I can tell when it's authentic and when it's not. But I think
okay.
that if people are really um, especially in my boat, looking, not looking, but wanting something meaningful. Uh, the mind, I have to connect with somebody mentally first and emotionally
Okay.
before anything else. Before
Okay.
anything else.
Okay.
But yeah, it's so vital.
Sure. So let's talk about things more from a communication standpoint, because I do discuss a lot about um, truthfulness, honesty, loyalty, per se, open communication,
Oh yeah.
people being able to have effective and productive communication about things. Where does that fit into those things that you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's no such thing as over communicating. I think that if people think that there's it's two different things. A lot of people get confused. Talking versus communication, two completely different things. People can be talking, but they're not really sending a message of any sort.
Right.
Um, I think that if people ever feel like they're over communicating, they're not with the right person. But at least for me, I can say, if a man is communicating so much and so in depth, there's nothing that could be lost in translation. It is
Okay.
one of the most attractive traits on earth. I mean, it is not only that, it really sets the bar of, hey, we're a unit, we're a
Okay.
team. That communication is such a base, it's such a foundation.
Okay. Good. Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about things more from a display of emotion, affection, that leads as far as sexual anticipation, things of that sort. So let's explore that with you. What is your mindset as it relates to that?
Um, can you repeat that one more time?
Okay, so we're talking more about display of emotion, display of affection, and as far as sexual anticipation, things of that, as far as how you feel about that in a relationship as that develops over time. Kind of give me
Yeah.
your mindset on that and your stance.
Um, Again, I really do try to come from a healthy standpoint in my situation, my shoes. I
Okay.
think that if a guy, I abs, because I know that in this world nowadays, people go from A to Z, and
Mm-hmm.
I always say everything's like 50 Shades of Gray. So there's 50 Shades of Gray,
Well, you're
but
in New York, so there's a lot of House of Dominatrix and all types of different things going on. You got the secret room, and
yeah,
you're in New
you
York, so
know,
go. Okay,
I do. I mean, I absolutely love a man that can be vulnerable. I know it kind of falls into the political boat, but I'm not saying, of course, I don't believe in extremes. I don't think that extremes are healthy psychologically.
okay,
Yes, as a woman, as a very alpha woman, straight woman, I definitely want to see a man's vulnerability. That really goes into the emotional intimacy for me.
okay,
I Looking back at my life now, I feel like a lot of the men that I've dated kind of were the same pattern. I was dating the same pattern of men that was very like hard, very displayed no emotion. And honestly, I can tell anybody it really cut off connection.
mm,
It was, and actually talking to you right now, I just figured that out. So thank you.
hmm.
But I think
Hey,
that, but of course, I'm not saying, every single time I watch a movie or I go for a walk on the beach with my significant other partner, he cries. I don't want to go to the extreme. So I think that
right.
just a healthy, normal human being,
Okay. Now,
not the extreme.
so
Somebody,
as
a
we go
man.
through that display of affection and talking and communication, like, is your love language more about communication, touch? What type of love language that you think is compatible for
Yeah, for me, I would have to say touch, and I don't want people to get confused with touch and sexuality because it's two different things for me. When I'm 90 years old, just holding somebody's hand can be so, so deeply a connection, and I would say touch, but again, I think that a lot of people always go from A to Z. They're always thinking, oh, sexuality. No, I actually
you?
just mean, holding hands. Um, holding me, a hug.
Right.
A lot of
Okay.
people always ask what I want for my birthday, and I'm like, a hug.
That's very simplistic. I mean, that's a simple gesture, but there are people who
Yeah.
lack that. So I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay. So let's kind of talk about um, more of the situational dating that you've been involved in, as it involves you with guys. And you said that you've kind of dated some of the guys with the same pattern of behavior. So have there been more transient relationships, like it lasted a couple of weeks, 2 weeks? Have you been involved with people that have been like for months? You had some long-term relationships that lasted years. Like what have you encountered for the
Yeah,
most
it
part?
was. It was always the same pattern of men in all those areas. So some would be, I would date them for a few weeks, some a few months, a couple years. I think when I was in those relationships for a year or two, I really tried to work on things, but I realized I couldn't be the only one working. There,
It
it,
was more one-sided.
yeah, it always took two. And, I think that, I've really learned that I was always a very overly empathetic type woman. And I was always attracting like the stuffy, suited up, narcissistic, power guy, and
Okay.
of course, there are a lot of people with power in New York City that are also gentle. But that had to come with me being gentle with myself or coming into a place where I'm kinder to myself. But yeah, it was always the same pattern of like stuffy men and, men that just thought that they were above, you know.
Everybody. Now,
Yeah.
my question is, being that's the case in the environment that you're meeting them in, were these men working in particular industries that were like highly competitive, kind of high, worth? And because usually when guys that work in these type of competitive, high earning situations, it's kind of hard to turn the switch off, because when you're in those industries, some
Yeah.
of the things that you talked about are actually valued. May not be valued in a relationship,
Yeah.
but it goes in line with what makes them great at what they do.
Yes. Oh, thank you for that. I mean, that's
Okay.
actually a really important point to touch on because, there is a difference, if we have anybody around us, even if it's a friend, especially a partner though, um, for them to be very established and accomplished in their job field, they would have to kind of beat the underdog. So yeah, you did make a point. I think that they really just need to turn the switch off and realize that if they're in a healthy relationship, there is no power struggle. It's just a safe place, and there is no. It's not a scale of who's right and who's wrong. It's just working together as a unit.
Right, right.
But most of the industries were like finance, a lot of businessmen. I remember this one particular um, person I was with in a relationship, actually, who actually did turn out to be so domestically abusive, and
Oh, it's
he
unfortunate.
was it was unfortunate, but I learned so much through that situation. And he was actually a doctor. He was a doctor turned businessman, and he had a skincare line out and supplements. And yeah, it was always the same pattern of men until now.
Okay. Okay. So
Things have changed.
I want Lily to find a consistent guy. So is there any prospective men in your life now that may fit that mold, where you can, or you just kind of still dating per se?
Yeah, nobody now, but I am. Yeah, I am. I'm actively dating, but yeah,
Okay. You're
yeah.
actively dating, but no one in particular right now.
No one in particular right now. Hopefully soon. Who knows?
Hopefully soon. Okay. Okay. So let's kind of look at, as far as, was there any relationship that was close to possibly engagement or marriage? Did that ever occur at any
Yeah,
point in your life?
yeah, absolutely. I was engaged 3 times.
Oh wow. Now
Yeah.
let's peel that back a little bit, because that was 3 times. So what happened in those relationships that it didn't move forward?
Yeah. So one, He sang for a living. He was a singer, and he wanted to get married the very first time we met. And of course, there was this immediate rush of, this voice inside of me. I don't know, call it God or not, just telling me that, too fast, too soon. And I didn't realize, of course, that was also another abusive type of encounter. And there was also another person that I was with before that for almost 2 years. And he actually was a serial killer. So I didn't,
He
when I
was
had
a
found,
serial. Wait. Let's slow this. He was a serial
yeah,
killer. Oh
yes.
my
So
God.
yes, I realized, of course, the high intensity, too fast, too soon. And of course, I'm not attracted to anybody that's not.
So did you just wake up one day and saw his name on the news or something, or how did that come about?
No, like when the feds knocked on my door, pretty much. And also, there were many signs before that. I think sometimes when we're so, um, especially myself in the past, when I'm so enveloped or wrapped up in my bubble, thinking that I'm so in love with somebody because of the high intensity, um, I just don't even see, what's right in front of me. And there were many instances where he had, talked about certain things, and I purely just thought that he was joking.
But
And
he
of course,
wasn't
look,
joking.
he was not joking. And of course, um, looking back, those things are not even for someone to joke about. So that was the second time that I was engaged. And then the third, oh, that was like a long time ago when I was young, in my mid 20s, about a decade ago. It was just one of my first relationships that I had in New York City. And of course, just another abusive relationship. So,
Mm.
like the whole, alcohol and drugs type lot. And
Right,
I
right,
think I've always been an old soul where, I don't, want toxic things in my relationship where
right,
it could hinder that person's mental health, therefore our mutual relationship.
right. So
Yeah.
in regards to that, because we definitely want you to avoid those type of guys, and so I'm
Yeah,
going to definitely reinforce and caution you
please.
in the vetting aspects. The best way that you can, and teach this to women both professionally, because I am a clinical psychotherapist. Um,
Oh.
yeah, I am a psychotherapist, but I just do date. This is just coaching that I do on YouTube, but I'm a professional. But I do caution for women that have this issue and have had this multiple times. Um, when you meet a guy, be open to every behavior that you view. Be aware of everything. I don't care how small and minute it is to extreme. And let
Absolutely.
a person be comfortable and be who they are. And
Absolutely.
when you allow someone to do that, they're going to show the good and the bad.
Absolutely.
And
And
because what happens is this is what happens, and this is what women fall victim to. And I'm not speaking in the majority of, but I'm speaking into what happens repetitively a lot, and women complain about this. It's the fact that they'll meet a guy and he seems so great at the beginning, and then 3, 4, 5 months down the line, you realize who he really is. And so, and the
Mhm.
reason why is because that person puts on a facade to reel you in, and then once he has you emotionally, then he displays. So the way
Yes.
you can bypass that is to assure you don't have to put a facade. Just be you. Okay, be authentic and
Exactly.
be mindful of a guy that says everything right and perfect almost, because no
Yeah.
one
Oh
is
yeah.
always right and perfect. Be mindful of he just knows, and I never met anyone like this, and because that's not going to sustain long term. And so
Love bombing.
yeah,
Love bombing.
I teach men and women to allow a person to naturally be who they are. Don't
Yeah.
judge anything. Just listen, observe, and they will show them their true self. And when you
Absolutely.
see those things, then you make a decision. So you don't have to waste your time. If you can check
Yeah.
out, like I kind of reference my videos because my earlier videos, and I've only been doing this channel for like 8 months. No, let me say, no, not 8 months, maybe about 6 months. And so my first 2 or 3 months, I talked about the vetting phase, the questioning, the dating process, and how to establish yourself over time with someone. And what part of what people miss is that at the beginning, everything is great. There's a lot of, you're just trying to put your best foot forward, and people don't really show their true self till months later. And it can save you a lot of time to just be authentic. Be in environments where they're comfortable. Do things that they're comfortable doing. Talk about things that they're comfortable about talking about, and they're going to show themselves.
Yeah, that's such great advice. I mean, that's
Yeah,
really great advice from you because, it's a lot of the love bombing at first. And I
right.
really learned that I really learned from the past, if you ever feel like anything's too rushed or like you said,
Too perfect.
if
Something's
it's
wrong.
too perfect, yeah, if it's too perfect, too fast, too soon.
Yeah,
And like
because no, everybody has flaws. I have flaws. You have,
yeah,
they're going to be something like, okay, let me see if I see this, but let me move further to see if I can work with this and see where this goes. If everything is just no, it's just
yeah,
not humanly possible. Nobody's
yeah,
built that way.
exactly. And now I really believe, and when one changes, our what we're attracted to changes, and I think that if I see somebody too perfect now, I don't even like that, because
Right.
that's not sustainable, like you said. I think that for any
It's okay not to agree on things. It's okay
yeah,
to have a difference of opinion. It's
absolutely,
okay to not like to do something that somebody else does. And the reason why is because in a relationship, these things will happen. There will be things that a person uniquely different, and everything is not going to be 100%. We all are just falling in line fluidly with no issues. That's just not realistic in dating. I don't care what era, what generation. That's just not how it works when you're dealing with human beings. So
yeah,
I just want you to take that in as you move forward and as you continue to date, because this is a common thing, particularly with people who have been abused.
yeah,
They seem to attract the same type of people. And I also will also encourage you to maybe start looking at, and you're probably doing this, but maybe dating some guys that may not be in the same industries and environment. Still
yeah,
positive, um, productive environments, but maybe not the typical environments where you're used to meeting guys. You may
yeah,
want to see something. You may want to see some guys that are maybe doing some things different outside of business and investment type stuff, or doctors and medical. There's plenty of other industries where people are doing very well financially and educational wise that don't involve more of a high intensity competitive environment. So,
yeah. No, I mean, that's great advice, because I
right.
think that sometimes the people want their lives to change or their dating experiences to change, they have to change,
Yes,
you know?
yes. So
And
let's kind of go into this direction. We're going to pivot into you maybe speaking on, were there any relationships that you think you probably was the reason that it failed, or you probably didn't give your best foot forward, or and maybe you did some things that you may have regretted, or it wasn't good for the relationship,
oh
or
yeah, and
toxic.
I've done tons of things as well.
Okay.
I don't think I've never had a relation. I mean, no, of course I've done tons of things in relationships, but um, a specific person, a specific gentleman that I really did like, that I that I was just courting. It wasn't for long, but I was, I had a little bit too much scotch, and I was talking about, the last person that I dated a lot, and
Mm,
I guess, and I
okay.
and I I learned from that situation, that I just wasn't ready to date, because if I
Yeah.
haven't let go of, the last person, then you're not ready to date
Right.
yet.
And he was
Um,
obviously on your mind, and the drunk
it was
truth
on my
kind of came
mind.
out. Yeah.
Yes, Scotch did that.
Okay. Well, it happens. It happens. People make mistakes. There's just a lesson that has to be learned.
Yeah,
So,
and I because I really liked that guy, actually what had happened was the next day, because he didn't text me back, of course, because I really talked about the last person I dated a lot. And he
mm-hmm,
actually asked me, I remember during dinner time, he had actually asked me, he was like, "Are you sure you're not still dating him?" So I remember him saying that. And so the
mm-hmm,
next day I just thought, oh my God, what did I do? I can't blame everything
right,
on God. But
right, right.
I had actually just deleted that person, the last person, because I thought, you know what? Now I'm over you. It took me liking somebody to finally get over
Right,
you.
right. And hey, it happens the way it happens. It happens the way it happens. So, okay. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. This has been an excellent interview. I love your presentation and everything. I think that everybody's definitely going to like the exchange and so on. And I'm happy that you're able to, kind of verbalize your experiences, good, bad, and so on. I do wish you luck because you are presently dating. And hey, in New York, the probability you see meeting so many people
Yeah.
at one time, it is a fast pace. And that's just comes with the nature of the where you're at. So, any last words, Miss Lily, before we wrap up?
Um, I would say one of the biggest things I really have learned is just take some time out. There's no rush to date in life. There's no rush to court or to get married. I really did take about like almost 2 years out, and I was alone for 2 years, didn't date at all. Of course, no
Wow.
casual encounters, nothing like
Right.
that. I really just worked on myself, and reflected on a lot. And I think that a lot of people just somehow feel so rushed in life. I think that when we start to work on ourselves, and when we get healthier, everything will fall into place.
Great, 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 great. I'm glad that you talked about that. Well, I do appreciate you for coming on, guys. And again, this is Miss Lily. And I may try to reconnect with you sometime down the line. Everybody that I do interview with, I do want to
Yeah,
do a check-in months down the line to see if
please.
anything has changed, anything is better, worse. But maybe 3 or 4 months down the line, I may, hit you up. If you have any questions, anything you want to talk
No,
to me
no, no.
about
Please
relationships,
check in. Who knows?
yeah,
You might have sent me some good luck, and
yeah,
I might be in a different place.
we never know. So thank you for your time. For guys, I appreciate you all for being here today. Y'all have a great day.